We're back at the Beyond Banking Conference for 2025. We've kicked it off in style, and that is partly due to Morris, your introduction, opening up the conference, Dean of GIBS. Thanks for chatting a little bit more with us.
Thanks so much, Guy. I really enjoy this particular conference, and I'm glad to be back, really celebrating the world of banking.
Great. Well, I mean, that kind of goes straight into my question that I wanted to ask you. We have a conference dedicated to banking. Why do you think it's so important to have a conference like this every year in today's day and age?
Essentially, the world of banking, if you wish, at one level, can be a necessary evil, in that it's very hard to operate in the world, whether as an individual, as a family, as an organization, as a country, without interacting with the banking system. And for some people, they like to think of the world of banking as a necessary evil. And that's because possibly they don't have the best possible experiences with their banking partners. However, I think a lot has happened, certainly in the past 10 years, where banks have recognized that you need to begin with a human being. We used to call these people consumers, and then we call them customers, but actually they're people. You begin with people at the center of your strategy, and we need to understand what people are grappling with. We need to understand what problem people are solving for. And in the process of doing that, we then can say, what role can we play as banks in helping people to solve the problems that they're solving for. Sadly, because people no longer have like a single banking relationship, they're multi-banked, unless we understand what's happening as bankers, unless we understand what's happening in the rest of the banking ecosystem, it's very difficult for us to really meet the need of that human being, that person, or that family unit, or that business unit that we're serving. So a banking conference like this helps different stakeholders in the banking value system, value chain, whether it's the incumbents, the competitors, the players, to understand what are the leading practices, or whether it's the regulators to come and really understand how they're perceived and they're experienced by the entities that they regulate, or any consumer activist type people who are also in the room, or educators like myself who are also in the room, to make sure that we understand what are the current pain points and what are possible future pain points that we need to kind of be navigating towards. And so for me, I think it's a moment of reflection, a moment of sharing, a moment of learning, which we then can take these insights back into our own individual spaces to drive strategy.
Yeah, and I mean, just to add to that, we've had a lot of conversation so far around AI and how banks are embedding AI. And what I've been really encouraged by is that we've seen really balanced and quite mature responses on how AI should be rolled out in banks and to banking customers. Because we know that these AIs require so much data, and like you said, you can get kind of distilled into a data point in an AI, and it's great to see that AI is providing kind of hyper personalization. So we're looking at the customer and how best we can serve the customer, and also have kind of comments around, it's great that AI can help us launch a bank with fewer people, but that's not the objective. We actually want to help our bankers and people within our bank with productivity rather than replacement.
So I think often part of the necessary evil comment that I was making, it's informed by lack of awareness, lack of appreciation, and lack of understanding about the purpose of banking, the role of a bank, and the risks embedded in a banking organization or banking system. And so I'm hoping one of the things that comes out of this particular conference, particularly around the education component, the customer education component, the consumer education component, is that we work harder and more towards helping to raise this level of awareness and appreciation. So, for example, I think you will struggle to find bank executives who are looking for every opportunity to raise costs or looking for every opportunity to charge costs. This may have been the case 20, 30 years ago, I have no doubt. But if you're thinking about the banking executive of 2025, that's not where they're looking for revenue, right? Where they're looking for revenue is like, can we innovate, and can we then find efficient ways of doing old things so that we can redirect resources that were stuck in these inefficient processes towards other more productive activities. And so for me, again, I think it's about changing the narrative of banking in the eyes of various stakeholders, so that at a societal level, we are able to achieve more with the limited resources that we have. So in that context, I mean, even if you link it to your idea of AI, when I started working in 1991, the idea of banking, there were lots of bank clerks at bank tellers. Right? That job wasn't fun. There were times in the 90s it was very dangerous. People would come and rob banks directly. It's still dangerous in a different way with cybersecurity, but actually now those people don't have to do that dangerous work. They can be repurposed to do other work. And I think part of the narratives that we could have here at this conference, as well as others, is how do we shape people's understanding, appreciation, and awareness of banking.
Yeah, I think especially in an economy like South Africa's, where a lot of the stories that we hear in industry are negative, I think having a conference on banking is a chance to celebrate, and a chance to, like you said, exchange those ideas of what can banking bring to benefit its customers and the people that are employed by it. So Morris, thank you so much for the conference that GIBS has organized, and we look forward as Monocle to partnering with you in the future.
Well, Guy, I want to thank you guys for having the vision at Monocle to partner with us and really be a leader in this conversation, in helping the banking industry reshape its narrative. Thank you.
Thanks, Morris.
Thanks, Guy.